Coming to you from the great state of Wisconsin, this is a CS27 Studios production. You're listening to the Binary Brothers Podcast featuring Ryan and Clay. It's time now to open your ears and prepare your mind because life's too short to be constrained in black and white. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Ryan and Clay.
Hello and welcome back to episode 39 of the Binary Brothers Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Clay, and with me, as always, is Ryan.
Hey everybody, it's me, Ryan, as is tradition.
As per tradition, for the 39th consecutive time.
Yeah, almost the big 4-0.
Yeah, almost. Big 4-0 is going to be the end of the year, best of 2020. Yeah, somehow we're going to do a best of 2020
somehow
episode.
We're going to pull it together. YouTube is not doing their YouTube Rewind this year.
That's fine. That's fine. Like their rewinds have gone to crap anyhow.
Yeah, like I'm okay with it from that standpoint in general, and also just let's not try and make this something it's not.
Right. But we're going to do a best of 2020.
Oh yeah.
For the big 4-0 episode. But that's not this episode.
That's not it. This is 39.
This is 39. We are in mid-November. Doesn't quite seem like we should be in mid-November right now.
It doesn't. Everything is just fast and slow at the same time. Still.
Yeah, it's all blended together. It seems like March and April were both a decade ago and also yesterday.
I don't remember what The Office looks like.
That's true. It's a little hard for me to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We've been working from home for a long time now. Are you scheduled to go back at a certain time?
We have absolutely no schedule.
No schedule.
I've heard of no schedule so far. I'm sure we want to get back in because since the pandemic started, we actually got parts of the office like renovated.
Yeah.
Slash we expanded, and we've hired people, and I'm sure the owner's probably itching to get people in there and like using it. But
yeah, we've had dates come and go. I think at first, when this first all kicked off, it was like, well, it was what, early mid-March, I think, probably.
Yeah.
And then, so they were like, we're going to do this until at least, July 4th.
Right. I think we had the same kind of thing where we're like, July.
Yeah. And then it was like, okay, we're going to do it now until, October. And then now it's like January 31st or something like that. But who knows? Who knows?
I think we did we were like maybe June or July, and then since then it's basically just been like, we're just going to be indefinitely. I've got all my stuff from my desk in a box right over here because we like everyone had to clear their stuff out so we can make it so that people could work like away from each other if they did go into the office.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody really has a desk or a spot there anymore than people with offices, so yes, accurate. It's been a decade, and it was yesterday.
It's been a long year. It's been a crazy year. And we're going to talk about it, at least the most recent things of this year, which, I don't know if you've heard, there was, like, an election.
I heard there was an election. It happened.
It happened, and apparently it's still, like, going on.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Not quite over, apparently. So we're going to talk about that. A lot of tech stuff going on right now. Obviously, new consoles, phones. We got stuff to talk about there, and then holidays. Holidays are coming up too.
Right.
We'll touch on that. But before we get into any of that, I think we gotta stretch out a little bit.
Oh yeah, we gotta warm up some. For sure.
Get the body and the mind right.
Yeah. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with the good old tunes.
Ooh, we got some tunes here.
Yeah, some musical audio waves flying through your ears.
I've been passing a lot of musical notes into my cochlear area here.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've listened to recently that I had was really excited about, and it was kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about it. Was new System of a Down.
Oh yeah, they came out with 2 songs there.
Yeah, they came out with 2 songs, and I realized that since I've been a System of a Down fan, I've never gotten new System of a Down.
Oh,
yeah. They announced their new music, and they're like, people are like, yeah, it's the first time they've made new stuff in 15 years. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, yeah. I don't think I've ever gotten a brand new release from System. Like, there's Serge with his solo albums.
Yeah, he's done solo stuff.
But yeah, I've never had new stuff, so it was just an interesting thing for me to realize, and I enjoyed the songs, and I actually got hit with an Instagram ad that worked today. So I pre-ordered a vinyl of the singles.
Oh man.
So,
and you know what? They sounded exactly like System of a Down.
Yeah.
Like from the first frickin' note of the song. It's like, yep, this is System of a Down. For sure. Exactly I remember 15 years ago. Yep, this is it. That System of a Down back in high school.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that for sure. And then I recently discovered an artist called St. John that I feel like I don't know how I missed. Maybe one of my buddies said that his song Roses got big because of TikTok.
That's Outkast. You're thinking of Outkast.
Outkast?
Yeah, Roses by Outkast.
No. Other Roses. It's a different Roses.
Is it Better Roses?
Not Guns N' Roses either.
Guns N' Roses.
I will definitely say that it's not better, but that's mostly
it's hard to beat.
Opinion.
It's hard to beat Outkast Roses.
It's very hard to beat Outkast Roses.
It's hard to beat Outkast anything.
For real. They're solid. So, but yeah, I've been listening to a lot of St. John too, because I'm somehow just discovering him. He's been around for a couple of years, but I'm getting into it. So,
I mean,
what about you, man?
I mean, look, I can't blame you for getting into something late.
No, it's kind of with System of a Down, Tool, right? You said they didn't come out with an album for 13 years.
Well, right, and here's the thing: when I first got into Tool, when I was in high school, I got into Tool their last album that they did until the one they put out this past year, or not this past year, but 2019. The last album they released, that was the first album for me that I got into Tool. That's how I got into Tool. They had released 3 or 4 albums before then, and were big before then. But I didn't get into them until late.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say the same thing about the Foo Fighters too. I'm a big Foo Fighters fan, but I didn't really get into them until probably their maybe later than in your honor. It's mid of their collection. Yeah, mid Foo. I didn't get into them until probably once again probably early high school, which was early 2000s. Yeah. And Foo Fighters has been around since 1994 or whatever, once Nirvana ended.
Right.
So a decade after the Foo Fighters started. I've gotten into plenty of bands very, late in their existence, and there's no problem with that.
Right.
You don't have to be a fan of a band from the very beginning. You don't have to be a hipster out
you don't
there.
have to be a hipster. You can just enjoy the tunes, you know.
I know, Ryan. I know you got the hair right now. You got the beard. You got the vinyls. You're very hipstery.
I am,
but I'm
very
telling
hipstery.
you don't have to be.
I'm trying to not be a hipster while I'm also like maybe accidentally becoming one.
Yeah. Speaking of hipsters, that's kind of what I've been listening to a little bit lately.
Some hipster stuff.
Jam band. Like, they're called Pigeons Playing Ping Pong.
Pigeons playing ping pong.
Yeah, I saw them a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think I want to say it was 2019. It seems like a few years ago.
It's like a while ago.
I saw him in concert here in Milwaukee. I went to a concert with a friend. Didn't know any of the bands. He's like, "You want to go to the concert?" I was like, "Sure, why not?"
Sure. I love music.
Yeah, it's like they're kind of like a funky jam band kind of thing. There's both bands that played that night were, but yeah, Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. Great name, and
Fantastic band name.
and they're just they're a jam band.
Yeah.
Which is great in concert. They were great in concert, but like I always love when there's like you just get like guitar solos going for like 5 minutes. They got plenty of songs that do that, but no, definitely check them out. They're good stuff.
I'm gonna have to do that.
That's the one I tweeted. Switz the FU song.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's Pigeons Playing Ping Pong.
Yes.
That's a good one. The chorus for that is "I want to F you," and then they end with "NK."
Nice.
So it's definitely catchy. Yeah, they're definitely funky band, as the name kind of suggests.
Oh yeah.
But
American Funk Jam Band.
Yeah.
From Baltimore.
All
right.
Yeah. So listen to them and some other kind of funky jam band type music. Yeah, it's gotten me by. It works.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's getting you through the days.
It's certainly trying.
it's doing its best.
It's doing its best. I can't blame it.
Best. Oh man. So, what are you looking forward to? Anything? Is there anything coming up, going on? I mean, it's tough in this economy.
It's tough in this economy. I mean, I'm a big fan. Like, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not spending it with anybody, you know, with family or anything, I'm just kind of doing it, Han Solo. But it's still my favorite holiday. I'm gonna, cook a turkey for myself and make some good food and relax. There's gonna be football on.
You gotta watch some foosball.
Watch some foosball.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What about you?
We we normally do family stuff. Like we go hang out with Catherine's family, but I don't know. We're gonna see what we're doing. People kind of wanted to, but also we're like, nah, let's not.
Yeah.
Here's this map that says no.
Here are these graphs.
Have you seen my visual aids that say please don't? So yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever Catherine and I are going to do. I don't know that we're gonna go all out, but we're definitely gonna have like a day and see how it is. I think it'll be interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing like what it's gonna be like, but unfortunately, obviously, not family times.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting this holiday season.
Yeah, I mean it's. I guess I think this is a tough one. I know a lot of people normally go places and do a lot of stuff and see a lot of people, and I know, some people are still gonna, but
people are still gonna. It's
for sure.
It's definitely.
But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting stretch. Like it's always funny because like at some point it probably around now, coming up soon, I'm always all like, man, just my diet becomes trash. And it's just like, I'm just gonna eat everything, and we got all the leftovers, and
leftovers,
like meals with this person and doing that and going here and buying all the gifts and the stuff. And this year's gonna be different. Like we might do like we're doing a Secret Santa, but we're probably just gonna like ship things to people or whatever type thing. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season.
Yeah, if you if you had just like ideas about this entire year, like how it's been going and everything, I mean, just wait until how this ends.
Right.
Like 2020 has been a year that it's gonna go out with a bang.
Oh, it keeps on giving.
It just, there's no way it's not gonna. Just, I don't know.
I know I saw on Twitter someone tweeted back in 2016. They're like, this year is such trash, blah blah blah.
I mean, it was though.
Time travels. It was terrible, right? And then they're like, time travels to 2020, and someone quote retweeted and was like, "This did not age well."
2016 had a lot of notable deaths and other things in terms of like especially like right at the end of the year, like a number of notable people kind of passed away, and it was just like, just end it.
Just let's be done. Yeah, we.
Well, and it also, it was once again also an election year, so.
Yep.
Never helps things.
Did not go the way that people thought it would.
Well, not only that, but just and we've seen it this year too. Just like nobody likes all the political ads and all the like it's just throughout the entire like summer leading up to the election. It's just like constant like on you. No matter like what side you vote for or anything, it's just like there and there and there.
Dude, it's like part of me is really glad that I don't watch like broadcast like over the air television.
Oh yeah,
like ever, because the few times that we did, leading up to the election, it's like just an onslaught of just all this random stuff, and I'm just like, okay, that's enough. Getting every other day just all sorts of pamphlets and
all the time in the
everybody,
mail.
It's like do I need 3 Biden and 4 Trump like advertisements in my mail
right
every other day? No, like
especially after like I had already absentee voted,
right.
Like,
it's like, put me on a list, put me on some list,
put me on the no call list.
Yeah, and like the text messages, they're like, oh hey, I'm this person from here.
I had stopped. I responded stop right after the first one, so thankfully I didn't get any after that. That seemed to be the route to go.
I should have done that. I just ignored them.
Usually I do stuff like that. Usually I'll just like ignore, especially like spam calls,
Yeah.
Don't even answer them because they're checking to see if the phone line's like active.
I know you're hot.
Yeah.
You got a hotline here.
So I don't even answer. If it's not a phone number that I recognize, I'm not answering it. But with those the text messages, I'm like, they gave you the option to stop. I'm like, stop. I'm fucking stopping it.
Please don't. Never
stop.
Again. Yeah, man, it's like everywhere, and like this election was. It definitely had to be. I'm not just imagining it, like worse than before. Like every single site,
seems like it.
Everything you went on was constantly like, here's an extra banner at the top of the page or somewhere.
Oh yeah.
register to vote, also go vote. And like, while I'm happy that like, great, maybe got more people to get out and vote and do the stuff, and it's like, that's fantastic. I wish there was like a button you could just hit on the internet that was just like, I already did it, I'm already good.
Right.
I'm good.
Like the amount of data that all these like websites, social media companies have on you, like of all the big data, I mean, you should probably know I already voted by now.
Yeah.
I just cool it. Just cool it.
Just calm down. You're coming on a little strong right now.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But like you said, we got record turnout. There's record number of people voted, and that's great.
Trump got the most votes ever of anyone ever. In ever any president, any incumbent president, he got the most votes. That's what matters. Electoral college that determines if you win.
Technically, he did get the most votes.
The most votes an incumbent has ever gotten.
Incumbent.
And we can't take that away from him.
You're right, we can't.
Math says we can't.
It's true.
But
he still didn't get the most votes this election.
It's weird how that works.
And he didn't get the most electoral college votes, which the electoral college needs to go away.
The electoral college
dumbest thing.
Needs to piss off.
It's the dumbest thing. Like what? I don't even know what's the breakout of. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, the popular vote's not even like popular vote's not really great either. Like, that's not the greatest way. I mean, I would say it's better than the electoral college, but it's not like the best or not really what we should be striving for. There's better voting systems out there.
Yeah.
But like when you think about the electoral college, and if you're in a state, like let's say you are up until this year, like take like Texas for example.
Yeah.
Like Texas has always been a very red, Republican state. It was a little bit closer this year, but it's still, red. I mean, you look at all the people who are living in those, cities of like Houston and Dallas, high density population areas, which always skew more Democratic. Like in a state like Texas where it's pretty much guaranteed to be red.
Yeah.
If you're a Democrat living in a city like Austin or Dallas or Houston or one of those cities or college towns, maybe like Corpus Christi or something, somewhere else, like your vote literally doesn't matter for the presidential election.
Yeah.
Local elections different, obviously.
Right.
But like for presidential, like your vote literally doesn't matter in the electoral college if that's your situation.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like you're not going to get it. It's not going to go your way. It's also like Catherine and I were talking about this, but it's like this weird balance of like, yeah, I get it. I get the concept. Like underpopulated areas get a higher weight in a way, right? Because they need more like equal representation. Like obviously, like California is huge. California could be 9 states. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. So it's like, yeah, sometimes it makes sense to kind of like spread it out some, but it's also just like weird. And you're right, like the popular vote doesn't work in that situation where it's like, yeah, the popular vote is obviously going to go some direction. Right.
Well, I mean, 7 out of the 8 last elections, it's gone Democratic.
Yeah.
Popular vote has.
Which is just, from a simple, like, number standpoint, is what's always thrown me off. It's just been, like, the majority, right? You take a vote, like, anyone normally takes a vote. And it's like, okay, great, majority wins. Sure, there are some other rules and whatnot, but Electoral college is just weird, and they like you don't have to go with whatever. You don't have to go with popular vote. Like, you didn't have to. Like, technically, you can just do whatever.
Yeah, technically, but I think it's pretty rare for states not to go with to not award the electoral votes by the popular vote of their state.
By the popular vote, yeah.
There are some states out there that have passed some legislation in which they will give their electoral votes to the overall popular vote winner of the election.
Ah, okay.
But only when like so many states end up agreeing to the same like thing.
Yeah.
So there's like I don't know off the top of my head. There's maybe like 5 to 10 states who are like, we'll do this once like 27 states, get in on this plan or whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously we're not like at that point yet. So they're still just awarding electoral college votes based on their own state's popular vote.
Popular vote, yeah.
But yeah, there's better ways of voting out there. I don't know if it'll ever change though.
I don't know.
Yeah, we've had the electoral college forever. It probably won't ever change. This year we had a record number of frickin' mail-in absentee votes, and it seems like we can't even handle that.
No,
so
can't. Yeah, it's like weird and messed up. Like states that are like you can't count them until election day. What? Like, why put that burden on the system and do all that stuff? Like, as long as people are following protocols and doing like, they're not just like, oh yeah, let me just file it away. Some intern is doing a thing. Like, why not be able to count that officially, before the time, so that we can kind of get to the point faster?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing about that is probably they don't want to have all these votes that get counted early, like it leak or whatever, and say there's been a bunch of votes for Joe Biden, and then and then a bunch of like people who are going to vote in person on election day was like, oh, Joe's already got a bunch of these, I don't have to.
It's fine.
I don't need to vote because he's going to win. He's got a bunch of votes.
It's not anything from leaking these days. Like,
yeah,
it's tough. Baby Yoda was like a very well kept secret.
Yeah,
they did a good job there.
They sure did.
But yeah, it's like we'll get into tech later, but it's like every single like phone and like just most of the tech. It's like, nah, it's gonna get leaked for sure. We know exactly what's coming. And all this other stuff. So
yeah,
music's
always been leaked.
Music's always leaking.
That was a big thing back in the day. Websites all about like leaking albums.
Yeah, man. Like I used to go on this one site, and it's all like, you might get an album a few days before it comes out or something, and it's just. I had like Beyonce dropped like a surprise album. I don't know when. I'm not like a religious Beyonce listener, but like,
what?
I know. I actually said that on the podcast, and now people will probably come for me.
Dude,
but
Jay-Z is gonna be none too happy with you.
Yeah,
you doing my girl like that?
He's a real OG too. So
you gonna be doing me like that?
Oh, you gonna do me like that? Speaking of Rich, did you see he has a new stand-up on Netflix?
I saw a clip of it on like YouTube, but I haven't watched it on Netflix yet.
It's on the list. I gotta watch it ASAP. I told Weiss about it. He's like, gotta watch it as soon as I put the kids to bed some night.
Yeah,
he'll fall asleep.
He's a goner.
Yeah, it's the hopeless.
it's just the absentee. So like, it's not only just like you can't, like, they're not allowing you to count them until election day, but then they're putting like limits, like, they have to come in by a certain time too.
Right. Or some people are saying like it has to be postmarked by a date, and there was a whole controversy about like backdating stuff that came in late. And we watched John Oliver.
Yeah.
And he said something, I'm pretty sure, on that subject, that it was like two ballots
right,
like came in late, and they didn't like pre-postmark them. They were just like, too bad.
Well, and I mean, you had everything that happened with the frickin' U.S. Postal Service leading up to we talked about this on our previous episode. Like,
you can't be surprised that, like, stuff comes in late.
We're in an election year, and you're deciding to do these like things, like upgrade like these things, or take away these like mail sorting machines. Like, you're gonna do them now, out of all the days or years to do it. Like, can't wait a year? Couldn't do it last year?
Few months, like something.
Like,
nope, we got to jack it all up now.
2 months, 1 month until the election. We're gonna do it now.
We're gonna do it now. Now it needs to be done.
Now,
why is it so important, sir? Now we just do it now.
And not even that it's an election year. Like, now, as in like a couple months before like holidays.
Yeah.
Like, when people...
That's the best part, when people are just going to put a strain on the system, like, do this in the spring.
Yeah, do it when there's a lull. Like, do it in freaking February. Well, maybe not February. That's like... Do it in freaking March.
Yeah.
March would be... Because February is like Valentine's Day, so, like, people are probably going to send letters.
You can hit up a good, like...
Love letters.
So much love.
But, like, March and April... There's no, like, holidays in those months.
What are you doing? Nothing.
And even the first part of May. Memorial Day is at the end of May. You got 3 months there to do this work. Do it then.
Got so much time.
Do it then. Yeah, it's just, it's been so ridiculous. Yeah, and then, so Election Day happened, and like, it's always been like this, where votes continue to get counted up until like December, and that's when the electoral votes get actually like given to a candidate, certified. Yeah. That's always happened. It's just nobody cares about everyone,
Right. They don't care about like the actual, like, everyone gets kind of the news typically on election night within, a day or so.
Yeah, just based on statistics, like. Yeah. Like, you can tell usually, and it hasn't always been like that. Not every election. Like 2000, the Al Gore, George W. Bush election. Like, there's that big Florida, hanging chads and stuff, like recount and everything.
Damn chads!
God damn chads!
Good chads.
But
show me a good chad. You're a liar.
Like, votes have never been counted only on election day. Like, and finished counting then. Freaking California has how many people?
All of them.
There's no... They have all of the people. There's no way they're going to finish. They've never finished counting on election day. Freaking Alaska. They don't have that many people. They have, like, 0 people compared to California. But their people are spread out. Like, it's a big freaking state.
It's everywhere. It's huge.
And it's Alaska. So, they're taking sled dogs to deliver this mail, and it's it's not quite a lot of snow yet up there. I mean, there's some, but like sled dogs are probably it's like, this is a little grassy spot here. You're expecting me to go over this?
Hey, buddy, this isn't my job. Don't do this. I mean, like, you didn't ask Balto to do this. You wouldn't ask me to do this. Let's be serious. I'm a professional.
I'm a professional. We need to take a detour here. So like, they're still they were still counting forever. But that's a red state, so like there was no big fuss about it, it's just this. It's insane. It totally saw this coming. But it's just insane how many people are just falling for it.
Yeah, man, it's like it's media. I think we talked about this before too. It's like the 24-hour news cycle. It's all the stuff like they just constantly have to be getting people riled up about something.
Yeah.
And something to do. And so like right now, it's like election fraud and counting the votes and all the stuff. And like obviously like so and so won and we did everything, and it's like you're sensationalizing all this stuff that is happening pretty much normally, and you know they just blow everything up all the time, and I'm not a fan of it from either side.
I mean, that's one of the reasons it's like freaking ESPN now. It's gone to garbage because all they do is freaking debate shows 24/7.
I've like never really watched ESPN, but the vibe I've gotten from it is very much like just people that, like is Skip Bayless still on ESPN?
No, he moved over to Fox Sports.
The Fox, okay, right.
But it's the same thing. Like they're doing the same thing over there.
Stephen Smith, right? Just like
yeah,
their whole shtick for years was just like, let's yell at each other.
Well, Stephen Smith is still doing that. Like he's still doing that show on ESPN.
He's still yelling.
He's still yelling. He's just got a different guy yelling back at him. That's a nice looking beer you got there.
Yeah.
Fancy. Get yourself a koozie though.
I would. They're all upstairs. I like only exclusively own Lollapalooza koozies basically, and they're all upstairs.
Oh man.
I don't know why. It should be downstairs if anything at the bar.
Right. Yeah, but like ESPN, I mean, I grew up as a kid before school turning on ESPN and Sports Center showing the highlights.
Yeah.
It was just highlights. It was highlights of the games that happened. Like, that was it. There was no freaking yelling.
Remember it was MTV when it was music?
Right. Basically. You know, it was freaking Stuart Scott, all these other, Rich Eisen, freaking all these guys just telling you what happened the night before in the games across all these leagues, you know, NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, like everywhere, you know, the top 10s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
College I felt was a good time as well. They still had Sports Center, and then they started having these shows that were kind of, you know, debate shows, but they weren't yelling yet.
Yeah.
Like they had Sports Nation was fun. That was a fun show. You had like Pardon the Interruption, which is still going on, which is probably their best show. If I had to, like, Pardon the Interruptions, great. Because they don't yell at each other, or, you know, they don't, like, they'll yell, but it's always like in like jest yelling or whatever, you know. You had like Around the Corner, I think that's what it was called.
Another Round with Matt and Clay.
Yeah, that too. That was a very popular show. I don't know why we never got picked up by ESPN.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Around the Horn, sorry, not Around the Corner. Samsonite, I was way off. Around the Horn, and they like a couple shows, just like these shows that there was debating, and there was like, especially like Around the Horn, like people would like debate or talk about things, and you had a moderator that like gave them points, you know, based on their arguments, and then like as the show progressed, you know, the ones with fewer points like got taken off, and you know, so like you had to actually present like decent arguments and like
it was a solid debate format.
Yeah. Like they had some pretty decent shows. But now it's yelling. It's just sensationalism. It's not good.
Yeah, I remember in college, like I had never, so like we didn't have cable that had like ESPN and stuff, I don't think. when I was growing up. So like, I got to college, and it's like Andy and a bunch of other guys were like, put on SportsCenter. They put on SportsCenter, and like, to me, it was like the weirdest thing because it kept just playing the same kind of stuff like on a loop.
Yep.
And to me, I'm like, why do you have SportsCenter on for hours? Like, you've seen this thing 4 or 5 times. But like, I like get it now, and I would kind of rather have that than like the type of stuff we have now. Like, I'd rather have more of that, where it's like you said, like, it's more recap what happened. You know, that's what you're here for. You're here to talk about sports and more like legitimate debate format, like, kind of shows about stuff.
And it's like, and with highlights, like, play it over and over again on a loop, because especially like when I was watching it, you know, before school, you know, back when I was a young lad, like, I would turn it on, you know, halfway through the show or whatever. So like, you know, have it on loop so I could, you know, see the part I missed.
Right.
But even still, having it on a loop, like it's just good background, like, you know, footage or you know, background TV. And you can even, like, if it comes on and somebody hadn't seen it, you can be like, oh, check this play out, check this out, you know.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, like, that was a lot easier to, you know, to show and to be, like, successful, I guess, before, you know, social media and, like, on-demand highlights and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, it was so nice.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like almost like the analog format of like sports, like news and reporting in sports TV, right? Where like now it's like, yeah, if I want to know what happened on a thing, I could go on Twitter if I wanted to and like punch in the right stuff and I'll see the highlight I'm looking for or whatever, you know, like I don't need to go to a certain place or do whatever. So yeah, it's definitely changed.
Yep. And yeah, unfortunate. But so the same thing is happening with you know, with like news channels, like 24/7 news channels. Basically any channel that's 24/7 something,
like one thing.
Yeah, sports,
and
or
it's not just like a genre.
News, or I don't know. Like, it's just, there's just not enough content to do 24/7, 365, you know?
Yeah.
Like when a news channel was just like a 24/7, like back in the day when a news channel was on a topic, you know, for like the entire day, or it was like the channel was like all news like the entire day, that's because something happened.
Something crazy was happening, right?
Something big happened that day. Like there's a breaking story, like a big, like, frickin' Princess Diana died or whatever. Or, you know,
and
like
just covering it like all day long. Now it's kind of like, it's not that. There are channels that are just dedicated to just saying as much as they can about a thing always.
Yeah. So like, just what can we talk about, or what can we say? What can we come up with that will fill this time?
Yeah. I always thought it was funny when news channels are kind of like live at a thing, and you can tell that they're kind of just like, they're just reaching. Like, they're just, we've got so-and-so in the field, they're at a thing, and it's like, this person for the 20th time today is now saying, I'm outside of this, and this has happened, and this is here, and it's nothing new, or they're stretching, and then like some person walks out in the back and like, oh, there's activity here. And it's like, oh, that is like the craziest thing that's happened all day. And it's like, just please report when there's something to report. Don't make this poor person stand there and be excited that the janitor showed up.
Right. Yeah, and so I mean, so that happens where there's just all this crap just gets spewed and then gets just fed into the brains of people who just are just freaking glued to the TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
the funniest thing is since 1996, when Fox News was created, like, there was a distinction between it and, like, the other, news channels. Like, it's different. It's got different viewpoints. It's not, part of this, what they would call, like, left-leaning freaking news.
Right.
Or now they call it mainstream media, which doesn't make any sense because Fox News gets the most views out of any channel. So if anything's mainstream, like, that's it.
How much more mainstream you can be.
But so, like, since 96, Fox News has kind of, like, been, like, this channel that's, like, we're actually reporting, we're the stuff.
Real deal.
Yeah, real deal. Real deal. We're certainly not making shit up.
Definitely not.
We're not complaining about Obama wearing a tan suit.
For your blue suits.
Was it Dijon mustard colored? Like, how many poor people are in this country? They cannot afford Dijon mustard.
Suit is
how can you
too spicy for a lot of people.
Too spicy. How can you have
Obama?
So since 96, so, like, 24 years.
God.
Right?
It's a really long time.
24 years.
Ago, it's 1980 to me.
And now Fox News, they actually have decent, like, analytics, statistics, like they actually have a decent news, like, department in there. It's the kind of front-facing people who kind of
mess it up for everyone.
Or at least, the front-facing part of Fox News, skews a bias, or has some, a bias of some sort. But, like, behind the scenes, like, in terms of, like, actual, like, news reporting, like, actual reports, like, that's actually pretty good. Fox News has, like, good stuff. Like, they have a lot of good, like, talent there, and statistics and everything. And so on election night, or, election night and then the following days, because it just, like, kept going. The week of election week. All these channels are, statistically, crunching numbers as they come in and seeing, like, how states are, what the likelihood of them going to a certain candidate, and then, all of a sudden, they get to a point statistically where they feel safe that, this county may be left to have votes, but, like, historically they've always voted a certain way, so we can assume that's not going to,
right.
Switch the election or switch the popular vote of that state. So they'll call a state based on that statistical analysis and data. And every single channel has this stuff going on. It's a big moneymaker for them. It draws in views. It gets headlines. Fox News, same thing. And they're calling states based on statistics and numbers. It's not their frickin' Tucker Carlson's calling these states, and
Tucker's not sitting in the studio going, "Well, I think Wyoming is going our way," and then also New York and Wisconsin.
It's not these, like, talking head, like, opinion show people who are calling it. It's like, these are numbers coming from the back of these news channels, these statistical departments, and feeding that information. And then all of a sudden, a few days after the election, whenever, was it Friday, I think, because Seth Rogen tweeted out or whatever. No, that was a Saturday.
If you follow Seth Rogen on Twitter, you should, because it's amazing.
It was Saturday then.
It was
Saturday. And like, Fox News, like, they had enough, data or numbers that they felt like calling the election for Joe Biden. 24 years of Fox News is that is the correct place, and all the other mainstream media left bias is wrong.
Wrong.
Down the drain.
Wrong.
Down the drain. Just because they called it. Just because they won on one election, one day.
Yeah.
This didn't happen when Obama won twice.
No.
When frickin' Donald Trump is the candidate for the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
Him not getting called the victor, that's what threw 24 years of...
Nope, the whole thing, trash.
Like, and all of a sudden now Fox News... All of a sudden Fox News isn't good enough anymore for this group of people.
Fox and friends, more like Fox and enemies.
I don't... Like, there is this... It's...
You feel like you're taking crazy pills, don't you?
I do.
Because it doesn't make sense.
I don't... I just don't understand. It's so depressing.
Can Crusher.
I just don't... I don't get it. And then...
It's because people don't want... Like, people really... It becomes a lot of people's identities, right? And like
that's the thing. It's like that's the difference between like this election, or well, not this election, but Donald Trump and every other Republican candidate that's ever been, running for president.
Yeah.
Somehow, for whatever reason, people are basically attaching like their identities to this guy.
Yeah.
Who doesn't give a shit about him.
Not even one shit. Doesn't care.
Like these people in rural communities is rural tends to skew, conservative. And so they kind of just, he was their, Donald Trump in 2016 ended up being the candidate, and so he's backed him.
He's your guy now.
In 2016, I understood. I can understand why people voted for him in 2016. Mm-hmm. I get it. And even I was kind of like, I didn't vote for him, by the way, but like in 2016, I understood it, and when the election got called and Donald Trump won in 2016 and beat Hillary, like I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
And part of me was kind of like, well, this might be kind of good because this guy could show a lot of things that are wrong with this country, and we can learn a lot.
Different, right? He's different, and it's like he's going to do things differently. Things are going to happen differently, and so like we're going to see what that'll do.
Yeah, like I didn't think he was going to be a good president at all, and I obviously still don't think he.
No.
But I could be like, you know what? He might, like, his incompetence or his inability, because this guy never served in the military, had zero military experience, zero government experience, like, just zero experience at all for this position.
It's a reality show host.
Yeah. A
failed real estate magnate.
A guy who inherited his money and went bankrupt like 6 times. One of those times being from a casino. Who goes bankrupt from a casino?
Yeah, so...
The house literally always wins.
If you can't capitalize on an addiction, I don't know that you should keep...
I mean, he kind of is now, though. But, so that was the thing. I was like, this guy who has, like, zero experience is going to be the president, and things are going to happen, and he's most likely going to screw some things up, and things are going to, like, come into the light. Things that... probably should get fixed, and like things that may be like underlying issues would get to the forefront. I thought, okay, you know what, that might be a good thing. We can make some changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like monkey paw like curl right there.
Monkey paw.
This was not good because of what has happened. You have. He's basically now he's capitalizing on people's addictions now, because people are addicted to connecting like with him as like their personality.
Yeah.
Somehow there's a rural conservative group of people.
Somehow all the Vergers
are think this guy who made his name in real estate in big cities, you know,
is their guy.
Tower skyscrapers care about small town rural people.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not saying that, you know, the other side does.
Oh no.
Like those people have money too. It's not
right.
It's not like they're your person either, but it's like
no,
to attach so strongly.
Yeah, like that's the difference.
Seems like the opposite, and to me, like a person that is shown many a time that he's not sincere or is not actually invested in you, and just like the things he says, just like to say the things like off the cuff that he says that like don't make sense or are just like ridiculous and like unverifiable and just wrong. It just like, sure, you can say like, oh yeah, he's just a regular person and he's speaking like people would speak and whatever.
He's not a regular person.
Like, but also he's not like, he's like, if you had a friend that like acted like and spoke like Donald Trump, you know that you would probably shit talk that friend to someone else in some way, or at least in your head think like, love the guy, but he's like
right.
wonky.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know, man. Yeah, it's that yeah, like people have just like latched onto it and have been like, he's our guy, and you know, for whatever their reasons are, for sure. And everyone has their reasons for voting the way they vote. And,
yeah,
you know, going with whoever they vote.
I have no problem. Right. I have no problem with people having, you know, more of a conservative viewpoint and voting, you know, voting Republican or voting for a candidate who has, you know, more conservative leading values.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. I'm fine with that. I don't agree with it for the most part.
But like, it's everybody. Like, it takes everybody to make
right
the country. Like, people have different ideas.
But the difference now since 2016 has been the attachment to this single person, to the single brand, this Donald Trump brand of, like, it used to be just you'd see people having just, you know, bumper stickers on their car, right? Just like a simple, like, you know, Bush Cheney, you know, 2004 bumper sticker or something, you know, like that was it. And you were kind of like, well, to me, like, if you have a bumper sticker on your car, I'm basically like disagreeing with whatever it says. It could say like, I love puppies, and I'm gonna be like, fuck you. I don't.
It's funny because people have those like, oh, I love my wiener dog, and I'm all like, shut up,
wiener dogs suck.
Like, I don't care. I don't care what kind of dog it is. I don't care what you're saying. I'm going to disagree with your bumper sticker.
Yeah,
sorry.
Exactly. It could be the most agreeable thing. I'm going to disagree with it. How dare you?
I've got like a little mechanical keyboard subreddit like vinyl that I'm going to put on my next car because I just expect that this one's going to die sometime soon. But like, I fully expect someone to look at that and be like.
I mean, I'm basically like, how dare you make me read that while I'm sitting at a stoplight? How dare you?
Got nothing else to do. But
I literally cannot do anything else right now.
You don't dictate what I do.
Yeah. Freedom. Freedom! So it used to be just like simple bumper stickers, you know? But now it's freaking like flags and signs and like what happened. Like, I was freaking, so back in early September, I was up north in a rural town, playing in a golf tourney, and we're done playing our event, and there was another event that was out on the course. They went out into the course after us, and there's this guy came into the clubhouse, head to toe dressed in, like, you know, the American flag frickin' outfit, you know, the, you know, Donald Trump hat, and then he had a custom golf cart with, you know, flags and everything. I'm like, who does this?
Yes.
Like, literally, who does this?
And it's not just one Bush Cheney bumper sticker, right? It's 3 or 4, and it's like, it's all of them. It's so much. It's too much.
But like never before have I seen with any other like Republican candidate or any other candidate in general in the past, like nobody's gone to that length.
Yeah, it's like
even after freaking 9/11, when freedom was everything.
Yeah.
Right? We even freaking called French fries freedom fries.
Freedom fries because obviously that makes sense. Whatever, past us is past us.
I mean, 9/11 kind of made some sense because we got attacked by another country or external forces.
Sense of like patriotism.
Yeah, there was like real sense of patriotism back then, but even in that part, of or that time, like people weren't like dressing up head to toe American flag, and with George Bush hats and signs like George Bush like on their cars 24/7 like flags. I mean there were probably some flags just...
No, there for sure were, but it's like I see what you're saying because it's like I've driven past places and it's been like one Biden sign in a yard or 3 or 4 maybe in one yard, and across the street there are like 3 or 4 or 5 like Trump signs, and so it's like everyone's just so going so hard on like I'm repping it all day.
So like there was this entire build up and obviously my hope was Trump was going to lose. That was basically my vote. Like I'm not really the biggest Biden fan. But like I will vote for him 100 times out of 100 if Donald Trump's the guy.
The alternative is Donald Trump.
Yeah. For sure. So like my hope was just that Donald Trump was going to lose. And from what everything has been called and everything that we've seen, even though it's technically not official yet,
correct,
seems like he has lost the election. Right. Hopefully, December, when these actually get, awarded, these electoral votes, hopefully that remains the same. But right. I was hoping, we're 2 weeks out of the election, 1 week, 2 weeks, something like that.
Yep, a little over 2.
A little over 2. I was hoping, some things would subside.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't. It freaking hasn't. Like, I was hoping, with how this year has gone, 2020 has just been such a shit show with, the whole pandemic being the main part of it. But then you add in the election year. Like, you want to get to a point and hoping that the election day or night was kind of going to be it, where you just kind of get relief from it.
Right.
And we saw that, when on that Saturday when Joe Biden was projected the winner, we saw people were out on the street celebrating, like a end of a Star Wars movie, which isn't really... I mean, I looked at it, and part of me was like, that seems so right, but also so wrong. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Like the times we're living in right now, where it's like we would expect that, and we would want that, and we'd be like straight up out in the streets. It's like, yay, because people are excited. They're looking for that change, and but at the same time, you can't blame them, but also you look at that and we're at a stage where like, that's also kind of irresponsible. We shouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
Yell out your window.
Right. With the mask on.
This guy wears the biggest mask, gets COVID the next week.
But it's just been like... And I will say, like, I felt some sort of relief. I'm feeling like the same feeling right now because I just released a a project that I've been working on at work like this entire year. I literally just launched it like yesterday. Or
congrats, man. That feels good, right?
Oh my god, it feels so good.
I'm currently deep in a project right now that isn't scheduled to be done until March, and we started in like May. So
yeah. So you're basically your same situation, just
yep.
But yeah, like it's been a long year for me, especially because I mean, thankfully I've been able to work. Like I've had a job this entire time. A lot of people don't have that luxury.
We've for sure been lucky.
But with the pandemic going on, like adding stress, the election being an election year, that adding stress, and then also just this project for like this entire year that I've been on, just a continuous. It never felt like it. The entire time it felt like a tight deadline.
Yeah.
You know,
there wasn't a moment to like rest.
Yeah, even though it was
really truly relax, right?
Even though it was like 11 months to work on this thing, like all 11 months was like you're going. Like I barely took any like vacation this year, and part of it is like, where am I gonna go?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so I'm like, might as well keep
yeah.
working. So like it just. So finally being able to, launch it or release it, like that's been a huge kind of weight, like I'm feeling like relief there. I felt a lot of relief that one Saturday when the projection was made for Joe Biden and I saw people, Star Wars scenes going on. Like I felt that, like literally I had, I was kind of like, I was a little emotional. Like, oh my God, like there's a little bit of like, this is a new hope, right? There's a little
cautious optimism.
Like there's a little hope that things might start getting better, and things aren't going to happen overnight, obviously.
No, for sure.
But you could kind of feel like, things might kind of change a little bit. Hopefully. Whereas if we had another 4 years of Donald Trump, I don't know, like that prospect just seemed so daunting to me, at least.
Dude, and it's one of those things where like I'm getting to a point where time seems to go by really quickly.
Oh, that's you turned 30, so that's gonna happen.
I turned 30, y'all. If you didn't know since last episode, I turned 30, and it's like just stuff is going by and happening, and when I think back, I'm like, yeah, it's been a while of this being like the norm, of like there just being random stuff happening, and then this year escalating so much, and then it's like to think of another, I try to be realistic or potentially slightly pessimistic about things in some ways, mostly to be like I don't want to get my hopes up. So
right.
It's like I didn't want to put all of my like emotion and like feelings behind like Trump's definitely gonna lose and stuff.
Oh,
like
no.
that.
No.
Because it's like, I don't want to be severely disappointed.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't honestly surprise me at this point if he did win. So I'm like, let's not do too much. But you're like, I had the same thing. Like when I heard about it, I'm like, wow, that's like this is a good feeling to have, and like a nice sense of relief in a way. And like I said earlier, like on my part, cautious optimism of like, for like what we potentially like have to come ahead. Right.
Because it's not, with Trump, which is completely different than any other president that we've had, it's not just like his policies, although I still don't really know exactly what his policies are even after 4 years. Like, it's just...
I don't think he knows.
Like, I guess the wall is a policy?
Yeah, the wall...
Secure borders, I guess?
He gave contracts to based on nepotism, and then also are falling apart / need to be repaired already. So, good job.
Like that was the whole point of like the the argument against the wall and spending all this money on the wall is that, like, yeah, number one, it's just waste. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Like, I understand secure borders, but, like, a wall is... a plane. Or did you freaking see the video of, like, there's people just able to climb it? Like, and...
Okay, yeah. So, like, it's funny because one time he's at a speech and he's saying, like, oh, we got these walls, they're great walls, all this stuff. I don't know, no one can get over it. I don't know how they can get over it. Maybe a ladder or something.
Yeah.
And then, like,
he just throws out the ladder.
Like, there's just a big ladder.
Like,
oh my god.
All that a 20-foot wall does is increase sales for 21-foot ladders.
Right.
So that's the thing, is, like, the wall's not really going to solve the issue. Like, it's a waste of money, essentially. So, like, and obviously, the whole freaking thing about, like, we're gonna make Mexico pay for it. Yeah, freaking right.
Mexico's gonna pay for it. That makes sense.
It's the dumbest thing. So I guess, like, the wall, like a secure wall or secure border, even though a wall's not gonna help that.
Force fields.
Yeah, force fields. And I still don't really know what else is, like, what other, like, leading up to, like, this election, what were the things that he was planning on doing for the next 4 years if he got reelected?
China business here business.
Jobs.
Remember that Apple factory that he claimed to reopen that really had been open for years, and Apple was like, nah, he didn't do that.
Jobs.
I think jobs is, like, one of the big things.
Well, it had to be after 30 million people got unemployed this year.
Had to be.
Like, get those jobs back. Like, he's out of every... So it's not just his supposed policies that people are necessarily, like, voting against. Like, it's just how he is. like
I vote against him as a human person. Yes.
I literally cannot listen to him talk, and it's not because of, like, I disagree with what he's saying. It's literally just because of how he talks.
I couldn't listen to him talk, and to be honest, if we're being
State of the Union,
honest, the way that Biden has spoken in general and stuff, like, I can't sometimes with both.
Yeah. Sometimes Biden is a little weird. But, like, this whole, Trump's campaign was all about, harping on Biden's lisp or whatever, or not lisp, but speech impediments or whatever that.
Yeah.
He's
whatever, like, cognitive, like,
yeah.
speech. Yeah.
And it's like, even with that, like Trump's not a bastion of great speaking.
No, the man has contradicted himself in the same sentence.
He contradicts himself in the same sentence. He basically repeats the same 5 words. Tremendous. He says tremendous, like, 75% of the words of his speeches are tremendous. I can't listen to him talk. But in general, like, he doesn't act like a leader.
But isn't that what we wanted? We wanted a different kind of leader.
Yeah, but gotta have a leader. Like, Ryan, you and I, we played a lot of football in our lives.
Played a lot of foosball, yeah, for sure.
A lot of football. And we've been around plenty of leaders, whether it be coaches or fellow teammates. In the sport of football, like, you need leaders. And there's leaders that, step up on a team. And there's a type of personality and a certain way people lead that constitutes as, like, a good leader and someone you would like to get behind. when I see Trump, like, I don't see anything even close to that. Like, that's ignoring basically things like the context of what he's saying. It's just how he acts, how he talks, how he just presents himself. Like, that's not the type of person I want leading the United States of America.
Yeah.
Like, it's simple as that for me.
I've seen plenty of leaders in my life, and, you know, I've also, you know, attempted to lead. And it's like, I don't see him, like, I don't see those good leadership qualities. Like, I can understand why some people get behind him in ways. He's, you know, like, charismatic in ways, and you can go along with, you know, some of what he's saying or the idea of what he's saying or doing. But when it comes to, like, solid leadership, I don't see it.
No, it's not there. And even his charisma, it's all straight built on buzzwords.
Yeah. Like, the man saying synergy 20 times a speech, basically.
Yeah.
Like drop blockchain in your speech.
Yeah, I'm surprised Donald Trump hasn't dropped blockchain in one of his
blockchain technology
to build this wall. I don't think you understand.
With blockchains, that's where you take chain and you put it through cement blocks.
It's going to be the best, most secure wall we've ever had because of the blockchain.
We're going to have encryption. We're going to encrypt our borders.
Oh man, it's just been nuts. Yeah, I just can't handle him. And to think, you know, 70 million people have voted for him. And the funny thing is, not really funny, it's more depressing. It's like a lot of those people, or a lot of people I've heard, is like, yeah, they don't like the things he says or does, but they're still voting for him because of whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, they acknowledge that he is pretty shit human being.
Like, yeah, he's not great, but apparently these qualities are good enough, or the qualities of the opposition are such that I cannot get behind it.
It's so unfortunate that so many people put their votes behind a single issue such as, like, abortion.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, and I get it, because I know people that are like that, and you know, I'm sure that you could find some issue where I'm like, yep, a hard line for sure. But
I have some of those too, but
like, ideally you'd pick the person that is, you know, best overall, but some people stick to one idea and they just feel like they have to go with that. But
here's the thing about abortion. It is very it's a very religious type of thing, right? Basically, you know, their churches are like, hey, we're against abortion.
Yep.
This is life. That's murder. The problem is when they think about it and they vote, like, making, you know, abortions illegal, like, that's not going to stop people from having abortions. Like, that will do literally nothing to stop abortions from happening. You're not changing anything.
Right. If anything, you know, they've said, like, it's just going to happen, but happen in a less safe way.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. I just saw a stat earlier today about some state or city or someplace that started giving IUDs to women without, like, parental consent or something.
Yeah.
Teen pregnancy went down like 60-some%.
Yeah.
And you know, some other statistics went down, and for every dollar they spent on that, they saved in, like, delivery, like, hospital and, like, continuing support cost. Like, for every dollar, it was like $5.50 per one. And so it's not, you know, especially when people talk about, like, defunding, like, Planned Parenthood because of abortions, it's like there are so many other things they do that are good in general. And it's like, yeah, there are some people that think, you know, like any sort of contraceptive is also a bad thing, but it's like you're not stopping, you know, like teen sex from happening.
No.
Or you're not stopping any of these things from happening. You're just making it so that it happens in less ideal situations, or so that it can't, like, people can't handle it better, right? Like they can't go get like an STD test or get free protection, or, you know, prevent themselves from becoming a person whose life doesn't turn out the way they want it to, or that it should, or that they're burdened in a way. And it's like, yes, I understand the other side, make better decisions, teach people right things, but unfortunately, in my experience,
But we don't even do that. Like sex education isn't good enough either.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the other side of it, is like, the problem is like these same people also sometimes are like, well, my kid can't go to sex ed at school and learn stuff because blah, blah, blah. All that does is equip a kid to not understand anything and get into the situation you don't want them to get into.
I actually talked about this
and all this stuff.
I actually talked about this in a different video that I made on my other YouTube, my hockey YouTube channel. I brought up the Streisand effect.
I watched that one.
Which psychologically something happens when, like, you tell somebody they can't have something, like you say, you know, you know what I'm trying to say.
Absentee ballots.
Abstinence from sex. Like, if you tell people you can't have sex, like, psychologically, if you tell someone that they can't have something, that just makes them want it more.
Forbidden snacks.
That's the Streisand effect. The whole, like, you know, remove this picture from the internet. Well, how dare you? I'm keeping it up there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this leader, I forgot who it is, some dictator or somebody was like, yeah, they want this picture not on the internet.
Oh, the guy from China, right? The Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
He just, like, he 100%, like, you played yourself. Like, the more you're like, do not spread this, the more people are just getting like, I don't personally care, but I'm going to spread the picture.
Now that I know that it affects you.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly like you.
Right.
And it's not like it's damaging or like inappropriate in general. It's just that you don't like being compared to Winnie the Pooh. Sorry. But I think it's a funny joke.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. So yeah, like, there's so many things, you know, you can do that is not make abortions legal, that will bring down the number of abortions that are had.
Yeah.
Sex education, you know, preventative, you know, products and you know, stuff like that, contraceptives, and then also, you know, support in other ways, you know, medically or whatever. Like, you can do all these things, and that will bring down, like, if you know, your baseline right now is, let's just say, you know, 1,000 abortions happen every year. That's not something correct, but you know what I'm saying.
What was that? Yeah.
Baseline, 1,000 abortions happen every year.
In the Binary Brothers podcast episode may or may not be correct.
Our lawyers are telling us right now.
Right.
All right. This is why
we're telling them.
Yeah. There's a reason why we're not the statisticians behind the news channels calling the elections.
Right.
So 1,000 abortions every year. If you make abortions illegal, that's not going to make it go down. Like, people are still going to have abortions, and they're going to have them in less safe ways, which will increase the risks to their own health, or increase the risk of, you know, more lives. So essentially, possibly even resulting in more deaths. Just, you know, you have like 1,000 abortions, so 1,000 like fetuses dead, and then add on to that like 100, you know, mothers dying or whatever because of, you know, complications from unsafe abortions. Right. So now, instead of just having 1,000 deaths, lives lost. You have now 1,100 just from, banning abortions. Where,
Right.
on the flip side, if you decide to give support instead, as you mentioned, sex education, contraceptives, and stuff like that, that tends to drop the amount of teen pregnancies and pregnancies in people who don't, want to have children but are going to have sex because we are humans and humans are going to have sex.
We do. We like to eat and
we mate. Humans mate.
I'd like to mate you.
Hello.
Sorry, what did you say? I said I think we should date.
And that drops it down, 65%. So all of a sudden, you've gone from 1,000 abortions a year to 350 abortions. Yeah, maybe 350 is still like, you'd rather have it, go down to zero. But
not ideal.
That's still, you're still decreasing, like you're at least decreasing the amount instead of raising deaths like you would. I'm
actually interested in like if anyone has done. I'm sure someone has a study like on that effect.
Like so many, and this isn't just abortions. This is a lot of things. Like people focus on like the act itself and trying to prevent that, rather than what are the reasons or why are these happening?
The war on drugs.
Why are people not wanting? Yeah, war on drugs is another thing, and that failed. The war on abortion would probably fail as well.
Right now, that the war on drugs has severely failed.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're still pumping money into it, though.
Yeah. Well, we kind of created the whole thing.
Yep.
The whole CIA crack epidemic.
Oh yeah, buddy. Yep.
Yeah. This country.
You're telling me it was us the whole time? Always was.
Always has been.
Always has been.
But yeah, like people focus so much on like the act itself and not what things can we do to help prevent it.
Right.
And that's kind of what we tried to do. We tried to take these measures for this whole pandemic, these lockdowns and stuff, to try and get people to, slow down the spread and get our, healthcare systems, time or availability to kind of treat.
A little bit, yeah.
Like that's and when we did that, it worked, right? And then numbers went down. The curve flattened, and then restrictions were undone.
We got cocky.
People, it was summer, so people went out and
I gotta go to the beach.
Gotta go celebrate July 4th, and and so cases have gone up again, and honestly, we would probably be fine if we just wore masks and socially distanced. But there's people out there that just can't handle wearing masks.
Yes. It is so interesting to me. That is another thing where I'm like, what? Oh, hey, Copper.
Who wants to join?
It's one of those things where it's like, I get that it's not convenient. I get that maybe your face will be a little more sweaty. I get and have experienced like your face is maybe breaking out some more and whatever other stuff. But fun thing about breaking out under your mask is it's always under the mask.
Nobody sees it.
But yeah, it's just like, is it that big of a deal? I completely understand people wanting to be able to work and needing to work. There are a lot of people that like need their jobs, that they need to physically be at or around people that like they need to keep their family going, to pay for their house and for the things that they need. 100%, I get that. But like something to me as simple as wearing a mask just seems like it's just an easy thing to do, even if you're gonna be around people. Like, cross the damn street if you're like going for a walk.
Yeah.
I've done plenty of that
Yeah.
and whatnot. It just like the videos that I've seen of like people freaking out about it, and like places that have like policies right now where it's like their policy is like, yeah, we have a you need to wear a mask in here sign, but they will not say something to you because they don't want someone to freak out and like throw shit everywhere and like do all this other stuff or spit on people. Like, in what world,
In a pandemic.
pandemic or not, in what world do you spit on a person? Like, for me, there are very few occasions on which I would spit on someone. So I don't get it.
I'm just thinking back to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. What was it? The French dude in the tower.
Spit in your general direction.
I will fart in your general direction.
Yes. Fetch a lavage.
Don't make me do it a second time.
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries.
Oh man, yeah, it's people like it's such a it's just been such a crazy year of people just. And you know what would have helped this entire thing? If our frickin' president would have just said, you know what, hey, let's just wear a mask, you know.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
But from day one, he was like, nope. And I get there was misinformation, like conflicting information.
Information for sure.
From WHO and from CDC, and I get that.
Yeah.
But as the months went on and we learned more, like, you're allowed to update like your knowledge and change, and at some point it became clear like we're better off if until we get a vaccine here, which thankfully there's some good news about. Like, until we get a vaccine here, and then you have the frickin' anti-vaxxers. Don't even get me started on anti-vaxxers.
So many anti-maskers become anti-vaxxers for sure.
But like, at some point in the summer, okay, it's probably a good idea for the 15 minutes you're in a store, when you're around other people, just have a mask on.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna do this until we get a vaccine.
Yeah.
And you're not wearing it all the time. It's just when you're around people.
And it's not like, to be honest, I know a lot of people, and I get it makes it harder to breathe or more difficult sometimes for some people, but like, there have been also many people that have demonstrated that like you're getting enough oxygen.
Oh, you're definitely getting enough oxygen.
Like,
the I can't breathe thing doesn't hold water.
Not even one drop of water. So it's like, you're perfectly fine. I get it. It's inconvenient, but like, I'm not asking you to push a boulder up a hill.
Right.
Like, just put on.
Well, there's some people out there just when walking they're pushing up a boulder.
Yeah.
But
sometimes it's difficult to just get out there and walk.
But it's like you wear a mask, and is it 100% going to prevent things? No. But like, that's the point of like social distancing and masks is limit the spread. So if we can cut down the spread by like 75%, that saves thousands and thousands of lives.
Yep.
And it helps not overwhelm our medical centers and our hospitals, because when they have availability to treat people, more people are able to recover. That's how we've seen like the mortality rate of this of COVID go down as the year has progressed, because hospitals have learned how to take care of people, and they've had, we flattened the curve, and they had more, availability to treat people with their knowledge of treating this disease. Right now we're getting to a point where hospitals are at their limit again, but like when we do these things to help limit the stress that we put on hospitals and we limit the spread, like, yes, it's not going to 100% keep you or anyone else safe.
Yeah.
But it's better than doing nothing. Right.
And that's the thing is, like, so many people are like, oh yeah, it's not gonna stop it 100% or whatever, and it's like that's not the point. That's like saying at this point about like climate change, like, oh, we're already fucked. Like, let's not. We are.
No, we are.
That's like, what are you gonna do? You can't just go, what are you gonna do about like everything? And you can't do that. You can't take that attitude with like, oh, my car's leaking gas. I guess I'll just let it continue to leak all the time. No, go get that shit fixed. My door handle's broken. Has it been 2 weeks? For sure. But have I gone anywhere? No. So like, it's fine.
But if you do go anywhere, you're gonna get it fixed.
I'm gonna
or buy a new car.
Take it to the guys down at the corner. They seem like a good group.
Seem like a good group of guys. Well, we're an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know already, this is going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked enough about the election. We've talked about COVID. I feel like let's get into some like fun stuff now. Finally, an hour and a half in here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some tech.
Ooh. I love the tech.
The tech.
The bits and the bytes.
Yep. It's kind of why we're named the way we are, the Binary Brothers.
So I saw something the other day that said a Boolean takes up a byte. So there are 7 wasted bits. And it messed me up. I'm like, oh yeah. I never thought of that. It's either on or off. That's a Boolean. That's a binary.
Yeah. Well, let's start small first here.
Okay.
How's your new phone?
Ooh, okay. Welcome to the new Google Pixel 5. So my new phone, as you can see, I did cave and put my case on it, even though I'm not anywhere.
Oh, caseless.
No case, gang.
Naked. Be free.
I picked up Catherine's phone and I went, your phone feels so much better than mine, because her case is still a case, but it's very, very thin.
Oh, yeah.
And small, and I'm all like, God, I do miss the way it felt. Here I go, taking the case off right now. Without the case. But we got this fun new color. It's a little bit, there we go. But it's sort of sage, they call it.
This video is in black and white, Ryan, so nobody's going to see the color.
Touche. I forget about
That's kind of our theme. Our theme is like binary, black and white. Like, that's the way it goes.
So, as you cannot see, this looks gray. It's a lighter gray, so it's not the black one, because there are 2 versions of it. But yeah, the phone, let me tell you, I've pissed and moaned about that last phone that I had many a time, and I was very excited. I pre-ordered this phone. Again, we talked about earlier, like, leaking stuff. Like, every single thing about this phone was leaked before it got announced, for sure. Renders, everything. So I knew everything about it, and luckily, like, they were going with the downgraded chip, right? They didn't go with the Snapdragon 865. They went with the 765G. So, like, it's supposed to be... It's a mid-range chip, and so everyone was worried about it, but also other phones had come out with it, so they were like, performance has been good. We're not really worried about it.
Yeah, and Google's not really... Their Pixel phones are no longer, like, the high-end. Like, they're not trying to compete with the premium flagship anymore.
That's the thing, is like they have now, like, they started coming out with the A series is like the budget range, right? And then now, like, they only did the 5, there's no XL. And it's got the mid-range chip in it, but to be honest, in day-to-day use, even like especially compared to that last phone I had, performance is just streets ahead of performance for this.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic. It's great having a fingerprint reader that's like on the back again. The in-screen one on some of Samsung's phones and Samsung's phones in general kind of are a little bit trash. Like especially the one I had, very bad. But yeah, like everything is just like super nice and smooth, and I'm a huge fan of the stock Android experience. So
yeah.
This is just like a dream again. Like having like all the default apps and all the shortcuts, like things are much more convenient. Like even simple things for me, like getting to like my alarm, like to the clock app to like set alarms or adjust alarms and stuff, to me is so much simpler. I don't have to have the app shortcut for the clock on like my home screen or something taking a spot. Like I'm also a person that I only use like 5 or 6 of my home screen slots, and my layout hasn't really changed for years.
Yeah. Well, and you can use folders too if you really want to.
And I've got like a couple folders. I got social media, some messaging folders, because messaging is a mess in the world.
That was one of the best things that Android did way back when was add folders.
Like
and iOS did. I mean, iOS added them as well at some point, but
they finally have widgets now too.
Yeah,
proper home screen widgets.
Right.
And you can set your default app for your web browser and email client. So nice,
although you cannot do Firefox on iOS like you can on Android. And so you can't get the ad block. Firefox, that's where it's at. If you have an Android and you're not using Firefox with ad block or not ad block, uBlock Origin, you are doing yourself.
I'm a convert for sure. I was 100% like Chrome and like everything, and even like with Firefox's new update in general on Android, people like have complained about a couple things missing, but I didn't start using it until like after they had done that. So like I'm good. I got uBlock, and like my world is just better browsing. I disabled Chrome so that even like any in-app browsers are like using less Chrome stuff.
It's browsing the web on mobile has always just been so bad because ads are just atrocious on mobile.
Yep.
It's just always been the case. But now with Firefox and then uBlock Origin add-on that you can do, it makes browsing the web on mobile like actually functional again. Like you can actually read an article or not have an ad take up the entire frickin' screen.
Right. You can scroll through a thing and not like there are so many sites that like you go on and you have to like scroll. You're scrolling, you get like a paragraph and then a huge ad. Yeah. And then another paragraph, like all this other stuff. So it's definitely nice.
A paragraph is generous. Usually it's like 2 sentences and then an ad. And here's the thing. Like I'm not completely against ads. Like I get that you need ads to pay for things on the internet nowadays, but the way ads are done it's not good enough. It like with the amount of hijacking that can go on with scripts from ads, just the amount of screen space they take up on mobile.
Yeah.
It's just ads are not done well enough.
No.
When they are done fine, I'm fine with them. You know, especially on desktop, like. I can handle them on desktop if they're, a banner or something, or, not just completely interrupting your experience.
Right.
But on mobile, that's never been the case. It's always been, for a long time, mobile was always the afterthought. And then there was a point where mobile browsing overtook desktop browsing. Mm-hmm. But the experience and ads on mobile never changed. Like optimized to get better.
Yeah.
So, like, you got it. If you have an Android phone, get Firefox. Like, we're not being sponsored by Firefox here.
Oh.
Although,
If you want to.
Mozilla, we're not above, selling out. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, I will. I don't know about Ryan, but I will sell out.
I will sell straight out.
Yeah.
100%. Like, hit us up. I even use Thunderbird for email, so hit us up, Mozilla.
I'm not that much of a sellout. I will not use Thunderbird.
I just won't. But okay, but like back to what. No jerks, can't do it. But like back to what we like started with, like me personally, I would endorse this phone, 100%. Like I'd be like, great, get it, perfect for like daily use. I don't play like intensive games or anything on my phone. Blah blah blah. Like it's all good. Everything's snappy. My battery life is insane.
Insane in the membrane.
Like I will use my phone and have like 6-7 hours of screen on time and go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning with like 30% battery.
Yeah.
I couldn't get to 6 or 7 p.m. with that on my last phone. So fantastic. The only thing I will say is like maybe a little bit more expensive than like it should be.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the 5G chip they put in it.
Oh yeah.
Which like classic 5G tax now, like not 100% worth it. I have like terrible reception in my house. But I was out and I had like full bars and I did a test and I did pull down like 60-70 megs on 5G, which was like nice. Much faster than what I've gotten with LTE before. So it obviously is like the future of like mobile and like network stuff, but worth the extra $100 right now, maybe not, but I plan on keeping the phone for a few years. Yeah.
Well, my Pixel 3 still got 4G. It will always have 4G. But like the Pixel 3, like, I mean, besides the fact that it doesn't have a frickin' audio jack, outside of that though, I love it. This thing is probably going to last me probably a few more years at least.
Catherine's is still going strong. She has Pixel 3 too, and I had a Pixel 2, and I legitimately would not have upgraded if I wouldn't have been having like some real hardware and software issues.
Yeah.
At the point.
Like the only way I will upgrade from this is if like a perfect new Pixel gets made, like the Pixel 6 or whatever, comes along and it has everything I want. It has the audio jack, it has wireless charging, it has the screen size I want, because I don't like a huge phone.
That's one thing about this phone, like that again I said there's no XL.
Yeah.
And like this is I think a 6-inch screen still, but the phone is like all screen.
Yeah, right.
So like it's still in a nice small form factor. It's much smaller than my Pixel 2, but the exact same screen size. I had a Pixel 2 XL, so same screen size, but smaller form factor, and I actually love it.
Yeah, so like if there's a phone that comes out that has like everything I want, and this is assuming that this Pixel 3 is still going strong, that would be like the only time I would consider upgrading or getting a new phone outside of the situation where this phone just basically stops working.
Yeah.
Or gets really bad or whatever. So like if you're looking for, well, I don't know if they still do the Pixel 3. I don't know if they still sell the Pixel 3. You might have to go with the 3A or something.
I think they do.
Yeah, but like
I don't even think the 3A. I think they might only do 4A.
Yeah, maybe. But if you can get your hands on a 3, like after secondhand or something, like it's a completely fine phone to have.
Yeah.
I have no problems with it. Once again, like I don't really do gaming on it. I'm not a big mobile gamer. Once again, mobile games pretty much suck with ads. So
bad, they should feel bad.
Yeah. No. So like for everything else I do, like it's completely fine. But yeah. plenty of phones.
Yeah, it's solid. So definitely good. Yeah, like the Galaxy S21, like already, like some rumored specs have already leaked, and like people have leaked some like renders. Apparently, like a couple of like the Android news outlets like I follow, like one of them got a source gave them renders, like CAD renders, I think at least. Of the S21, but like they're not allowed to publish them because it would expose the person.
Oh, yeah. I guess if it's like
it's just funny. Like it's not supposed to come out until like spring or something, right? And it's like already, and that's funny. Like one of the things I didn't really think of until I watched an interview with Carl Pei of OnePlus, well, formerly of OnePlus now. He said they talked to him about, I think, the Nord, and they talked to him, and he said, yeah, like a phone is done being designed like at least 6 months before it comes out.
Oh yeah.
So it's like by the time you buy your new iPhone, they're already halfway through making the next one.
Oh yeah, for
sure. And like all that stuff, and like it's the same with every phone. So it's like, yeah, all this stuff could potentially leak super early, and stuff does, and it's interesting. I don't know how closely you followed more tech news, like the PS5 and Xbox stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't like how much of that. I don't feel like I caught wind of very many like leaks about stuff like that. I feel like that was kept a little bit tighter.
Yeah, there wasn't. There wasn't like leaks that were accurate in terms of, especially how it looked. Or how the consoles looked. There were spec leaks, especially with like knowing that AMD was going to be providing like the processors for both, the PS5 and the Xbox. What Xbox Series X? What is it called?
Okay. So funny thing about that, when pre-orders went live for the Xbox Series X and Series S, Amazon saw like a 700% increase in sales of the Xbox One X and One S because obviously you got a bunch of people that didn't fully pay attention or don't understand the difference.
Or, grandparents or parents who don't know any better. They just birthday presents, Christmas presents. They're just...
I heard you love the college football game, so I got you NCAA football. Grandma, they haven't made that since 2009.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah.
But yeah.
Which, if you can get your hands on NCAA football 2014, that's pretty impressive because that game is actually pretty expensive now. Like it is a dignified game. It is the last game that they made, last college football game that they made. Like it is selling at a high price secondhand.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
Yeah, it's a great game. But in terms of, it's funny though, in some of the like Microsoft kind of like videos, like community videos or whatever that they had, throughout the course of the year, you can actually see the Xbox Series X like in the background of those videos. But because the Xbox Series X is like a freaking,
it's a rectangular prism.
Yeah, like it's inconspicuous and like doesn't really stand out. It basically, if you're seeing it in the background, you could easily think it's just like a speaker or something.
Yeah, you have no idea. Like, and it's so funny because I've seen a few where it's been like, yeah, this was in the background of this video like months ago.
Yeah, so like technically, like there were leaks, but nobody really. Right. It wasn't really leaked. It was a surprise, basically, when the PS5 announced, or when Sony announced the PS5, like the form factor and everything, the alien spaceship looking thing.
Classic, like 100% like Alienware.
Yeah. Like that was a surprise to everyone. Yeah. And then same with the Xbox, although I think people figured it would be, a more subdued design or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, definitely didn't quite have, like, nobody knew exactly how it was going to look.
Yeah.
Until it was actually, you know, not released, but revealed, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, it's obviously they did a good job of keeping all that stuff. I loved all the memes about, like, both systems. When they came out, people's reaction to the design and stuff, always funny. I am very interested in and really want to experience at some point the Sony's new controller, that DualSense, because with the adaptive triggers, I think that's interesting with the resistance. I did read something where someone's like, yeah, in like a game like Call of Duty, it could end up causing some level of fatigue, which, like, makes sense for sure.
Knock them down a peg, I say.
Right, like, just don't play so much.
Yeah, freaking KD whores over there.
Your KDR. So yeah, it's that's interesting. And the haptics, I read somewhere that they're the same haptics that Nintendo used in their Joy-Con, which, like, I have really enjoyed the Joy-Con, like, feedback and, like, their haptics. That's good.
Yeah.
Like, good haptics, and kind of back to phones a little bit too. Like, good haptics is something that a lot of people don't really think of and might take for granted on stuff. But when you have, like, bad haptics on a phone or a controller or whatever, it's just something, like, it's nice to experience good haptics. And I've heard people, like, really rave about what Sony's done with that haptic feedback that they've put in the new controllers. So definitely interested to see that.
Yeah. Any did you try to get one of the
Not
consoles?
Even one bit.
No. Yeah, me neither. Like, this was I want to say this was, like, the first time in the last couple of generations where I didn't try and get it pretty close to release date.
I've never been one of those. I've never been like a get like pretty soon. I think I've always been probably at least a year.
Yeah.
After it comes out. At this point, I got the new Chromecast with Google TV. And so that's got, like, a remote, so it's more similar to, like, a Roku or, like, an Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I legitimately have not turned on my PlayStation in a month. Like,
yeah.
I play Rocket League on PC, and, you know, I play a couple other PC games now, and obviously, like, I've been meaning, like, I want to go back and, like, I want to finish Death Stranding and stuff like that. Like, I always get distracted by quick pick up and play for a few minute games, you know, that aren't too involved. So, like, I haven't used my PlayStation enough, so I just can't justify the price right now. And it's like, I want to get it, and I probably will, you know, next year or so. I'll probably also want to upgrade my TV finally for, like, living room, get 4K. But
4K. Yeah, I want to say I got the 360 pretty much on release. I actually paid a buddy. He was waiting in line to get his own, so I just paid him to get me one too.
Nice.
And then I want to say the Xbox One. I don't think I got it on release, but, like, I got it maybe a few months afterwards. Like, wasn't probably too far after that I got it. But in terms of in terms of this generation, I don't really plan on getting one of the new consoles. Similar to you, like, my Xbox, I barely, like, well, when I do turn it on, I don't, like, game with it. It's watching Netflix or Mandalorian or something, you know, or like I'm not playing a game on it. The games I'm playing right now nowadays are on the computer. And speaking of computer and tech, I just freaking bought a shit ton of stuff to upgrade my computer.
Did you? What'd you get?
So I was hoping to try and get the new AMD Radeon RX 6800 card that got released few days ago.
Yeah.
But nobody freaking got one of those. That was dumb.
All the bots got them.
That was dumb. Yeah, they were on eBay for like $1,500. No thanks. So instead of waiting to get one like in February or whenever they would be available again, I ended up just getting a 5700 XT. So I got that.
So that's an AMD then?
Yeah, AMD. It's like before the 68, before the ones that just got released. That was like the highest model one or best available one from AMD. So I just decided to get that. You know, it's a year old essentially graphics card. So I decided to get that. I got a new case. I got and some new other like fans and stuff for that case.
Did you have to get a new case like to fit the size card? I feel like I've seen a lot of like reviewers. I've recently got more into like watching reviewers' videos on things like graphics cards and like PC builds because I think I'm eyeing up building one at some point. So like, I feel like I've watched like a couple LTT videos where he's been like, huge flipping graphics card.
Yeah. No, my new case, which I actually just got delivered yesterday, is actually a little bit smaller than my current case.
Really?
Yeah. It's smaller, but it also has a little more room, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's smaller, but it's
So I didn't need to get a new case, but I wanted to get a new case because I wanted to get a case with better airflow. The case I have right now has like an optical drive in the front and like kind of it has some airflow in it, but all like the hard drives are kind of right in the front too, and like it has spaces for those things there. So I wanted to kind of remove that and have those things like positioned elsewhere to give more room for like the graphics card and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then also just a case that has even better airflow for it. So that's what I got. Pretty excited to hook it up once everything gets here. I think I should be getting like a crap ton of stuff in the next few days. But yeah, that's kind of been my big thing is I wanted to upgrade my graphics card because like my graphics card is pretty old. It's like
not that I will probably understand what you have.
It was an AMD. It was an R9 380, which is it's pretty old. It's not like I want to say I'm trying to think of, so the whole reason like I'm doing it right now is because I wanted to upgrade my computer for Cyberpunk, which is actually going to work out. The release is going to hopefully work out perfectly for me now, because I actually already have off that day and the next day.
Ooh.
So it's like it's perfect for me. But like my current graphics card that I have, I want to say is either like not even minimum recommended for, or minimum spec for that, or just minimum spec.
And you don't want minimum spec.
Yeah, I want to say it's minimum spec. So I was like, and it's been a long time coming. I use my computer for a lot of things. Like I do video editing and like I do a lot of like graphical stuff and 3D modeling and stuff like that.
You need the power.
So, and that's one of the things like right now for me, and one of the reasons why I'm not like spending the money on consoles is like I'm like, for me, my computer is kind of it
takes priority for sure.
Like I game mostly on it. Like I'm gonna be gaming Cyberpunk on it. I'm gonna be gaming other games on it. And then I do all this other stuff on it. Where right now, my Xbox is basically just the Netflix machine. Like it's.
And that's what, like, honestly, like, my PS4 was, which is why, like, I'm not really planning on, and I'm, like, trying to give, again, like, I'm still trying to give Stadia and, like, game streaming, like, a solid go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm planning on getting Cyberpunk on Stadia, and they just announced today that they're doing, like, a giveaway.
Giveaway!
Like, you can get, like, the Stadia Premier Edition bundle, like, with a white controller and the Chromecast Ultra, if you pre-order or buy, like, in the first week. And so it's like I planned on doing that anyways. So, and I just got a free Stadia Premier Edition last week because I subscribed to their terrible YouTube music service. And so they gave me this $100 thing for free. So it's like I could probably end up getting another one of these for free. But yeah, like but doing that, like I'm not using the PlayStation anymore, like, to be honest, because, like, yes, I want to get back on there and play some games, but the Chromecast with the remote now and, like, its apps are now taking care of most of that, and
yeah,
I'm, like, kind of leaning in to, like, the game streaming. It's not obviously 100% as good as, you know, like, playing natively, like, on a PC with especially solid specs, but also, like, my laptop doesn't have, like, the greatest graphics card. Like, it can run, you know, Rocket League at its settings, and you know, I'm playing, like, Far Cry 5 and stuff on it, like, perfectly fine. But
yeah, well, here's the thing though, like, I love, like, building a PC is such a cool feeling.
Yeah.
To get all the and it's so easy to do nowadays there's resources to help you, like, make sure
you got the right parts.
Yeah, all the parts are, like, compatible and everything. And there's, like, build guides out there, you know, for you to, you know, just basically copy another build and put it together.
Yeah.
It's, like, so satisfying because, you know, when people think about building a computer, they're like, oh, that seems, like, daunting because it's a computer and there's all these parts. It's basically freaking Legos. Like, like there's slots.
Stuff that I've been watching recently, it's like all this stuff just, like, it goes together a way.
Yeah, like there's slots that are labeled and you just put it there and
plug it in, maybe some clips.
Yeah.
Slap a little bit of thermal paste on there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and processors, if you get a new processor, like, out of the box, it comes with thermal paste already on it. It's only
does it?
Yeah, you only need to do thermal paste or apply new thermal paste if you're like, changing out like, processes or your like, not the first time that processor is being used, essentially.
Right.
Otherwise, out of the box, it comes with thermal paste already on it. But it's such a good feeling to then, like, you put it all together, and then, you know, you hit the power button and it turns on, and you're like, oh, this is cool. You know. But here's the thing. If you're trying to build, especially right now, if you're trying to build a computer to compete with a console, especially this generation, you're not really going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of a computer with similar specs to what the consoles have in it. And here's the thing. What the, like, in terms of, like, the graphics card that, like, the consoles have, because AMD released their graphics cards for, you know, their stuff for the consoles first. Like, it wasn't available for, you know, computers until after the consoles basically already got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, you know, everything's sold out, so you can't even get them anyhow. But
damn bots.
But if you like, if you build a computer with parts that are spec'd, you know, as close as possible to, you know, an Xbox. Let's say Xbox, because Xbox has a little bit better components.
A little higher compute power.
Yeah. PS5 has a little bit faster memory.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of, like, in terms of, like, processing and
in terms of the flops.
Yeah. In terms of, like, the graphical and the GPU, the CPU, and like power in that sense, Xbox a little bit better. But once again, it really just depends on how games utilize it. So, but if you're building a computer that has similar specs as close as possible to like an Xbox of the Xbox Series X, or whatever it's called. So like the Xbox Series X is what, like $500?
Mm-hmm.
They said. Like the computer with those parts would be over $1,000. It'd be double. It would be double the price. You wouldn't be able to do it. And that's kind of the thing though with consoles, is that these companies, their markup. Well, there's not really any markup on the consoles themselves. Like they're basically selling them for cost.
Like I think I heard that Sony is likely selling theirs,
And possibly at loss.
Possibly like below cost.
Yeah, possibly at loss.
They're taking a hit because they know it'll even out over time. / like, what you're getting at is like the ecosystem ends up.
Exactly. The more people that have the console, that base part, it's similar to how printers work. Printers are sold basically at cost or a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just mark up, ink.
Yeah.
But for consoles, they sell it at as low a price as they can to get you to have it. And then the more people that have it, obviously the more, they're going to buy games for that console. And Sony or Microsoft, like, they require a fee from game developers to develop for that system and publish for that system. So they're making money from that. So as long as people have the console, like they're gonna make money from everything else. Whether it be the game licensing or the live service, the online services, and other stuff like that. So they're fine with selling you a console machine, for a very good consumer price.
Right.
Whereas if you're, picking all these parts out and building a computer together, all those parts are going to be marked up to some extent, by the manufacturers, and you're not going
to be able to put together an equivalent system for like anywhere near that price,
No.
And there's no guarantee for these, like your graphics card and your RAM and your motherboard, manufacturer to capitalize on, making, money on you going forward. It's really like, I got to mark it up right away to get my money.
So the whole console versus PC argument is pretty dumb. Like both offer pros. Whether you want a game on PC or game on a console. Console is, in terms of getting the system, is going to be cheaper for the same type of performance. If you're big into online, though, you'll have to continually pay for that service, so that adds up over time. But in terms of the machine itself, that's cheaper. In terms of PC gaming on a computer, yes, it's more expensive for a similar quality performance machine, but your online services you're just paying for your internet.
Right.
You have all these things that you can tweak with games and with your machine to make it, either run more optimally or just enhance the experience for a particular game. Like there's mods and stuff, and you can do all this stuff.
GTA 5 mods are nuts.
That's so dumb.
I want to gun the freaking monkeys.
I freaking hate what GTA 5 Online has done. It's so
online's trash for sure.
It's so trash, and Rockstar just announced this update for GTA Online. That's why GTA 6 was trending today. On the Twitter, GTA 6 needs to
happen.
It needs to happen
because dude, I read an article that had a timeline in it and everything about Rockstar Games and the games they were making. They were hot, man. they were coming out with so many games, and every single one was a banger. Like,
it still is.
For years, and every single one still is, for sure.
GTA 5 was a freaking great game. It was awesome. The single player was fantastic. Red Dead Redemption 2 was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But those two games have an online component that has basically told Rockstar they can make they can just print money.
Yes, and that's the problem. Like they 100% have focused their efforts on, I mean, understandably so, on a thing that's going to make them a bunch of money in that way. And it's like, God, I want GTA 6 so badly, though. Like, I just want it.
The thing is, they wouldn't even have to do GTA 6 if they would release some single player content for GTA 5, which they were planning to do, but they never did. Like, if you add that stuff, more people will continue playing that game. Like, I would still probably play that game if there was more stuff to do single player, because I'm not playing online in that game because it's, like you said, trash. But like the single player, I love the single player, and I would love for there to be more content. And they keep adding, like they keep working on it and adding, content for online. Like, also do some single player while you're at it too.
I would gladly, like, I don't know, I've probably got 3. It's not as bad as Skyrim, but I've got like 3 or 4 copies of GTA 5. Like, I think I have a PS4 one. I think I have a PS3 one, a PS4 one, and a PC one.
Yeah, I've bought it 3 times as well. Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC.
So it's like I would likely pay, especially like on PC now, for like an expansion pack that added more single player stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
Same with Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, what a great game! That was a fantastic.
Play more is John, like
or even like patching more stuff to do with during the main story mode. Like you don't even have to make a GTA 6 if because you're still developing stuff for that game.
Like, it works. Like, we're good.
Like,
we'll take what you.
As long as you're doing stuff for online, do some things for single player too. Like, do for the entire game, the entire experience. Yeah. Don't just focus on one part, because you're making just fistfuls of money off online. Like, they can spend a little bit of time to do single player too, because that'll keep people playing that game even more.
Like, honestly, like, I haven't picked up Red Dead Redemption since I finished it.
Yeah.
And I picked up GTA 5 a little bit again. I got Catherine to start playing it because she didn't really know that there was like a story.
Oh, yeah.
Play through it. She was one of those that thought like you just go in and you
just shoot people and drive around and hijack cars and stuff.
Wreak havoc. But like
and commit Grand Theft Auto.
Like, I'm gonna do the Grand Theft. That's what I'm here for.
That's why I'm here.
He also gets a little handsy with the strippers. Always getting kicked out.
Did she kill him afterwards?
Huh?
Did she kill the strippers afterwards? Or no? Oh, I'm thinking of like the.
You're thinking of the hookers.
Yeah, the hookers. Like, you pick up the hookers, and then after you're done, you just you get out, walk, you kill them, and like try to pick up the same amount of money that you gave them.
It's such a greasy game.
I know, it's so bad. It's so bad.
But yeah, like I haven't really picked it up, but like if they said that I could, pay a little bit for some sort of expansion or some update, like, I would go back to the game and play it some more for sure.
Like I said, like, I absolutely loved the game. It was fantastic. The story mode was, I loved the story. It was great.
Yeah.
And same with Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, just...
Yeah, I'm excited for Cyberpunk for sure.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is... That's it. So I'm going to be playing pretty much all the way through the end of the year once that comes out.
Yeah.
That'll probably be a staple of our best of 2020 episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best of 2020 was this past week of me playing Cyberpunk, and I've gained 20 pounds eating chips and salsa and salsa. Oh, man. Well, it's been nearly 2.5 hours. I want to say this is probably like our longest episode ever.
Oh, yeah. It's a big one.
Crazy. Number 39. Man.
Y'all thought 40 was going to be big.
Yeah. Nuts. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much all I've got for this episode.
Yeah. I don't have much else. I mean, I guess I do want to mention, like, did you follow at all, like, Apple's like their M1 chips?
I heard about them. I didn't really follow it all that much.
It was interesting. They did their event, which, like, MKBHD, I watched like all of his stuff.
Yeah, he's a good bloke.
He loves the like video production value of like Apple's presentations for this year.
Well, Apple's always been good at like
it's nuts
video presentations and like their presentations in general. That's basically how they like rose to start. I mean, that was Steve Jobs, right?
Oh, like, yeah, like their keynotes with
their
like
keynotes for
the announcements of that stuff.
Like they always put a premium on that.
Like the iPhone Mini when that woman went over to the case and then opened it and it was a smaller case and then opened it and it was another smaller case. I'm like, please shut up and just take the stupid phone out. But yeah, like he loves the video production value. Like it's fantastic. But yeah, their M1 chips, like their own chips they're making like in-house now. And
yeah,
I think that's super interesting. And people are actually saying like performance is actually living up to what they're saying. Like the battery life is pretty damn good, and compared to their Intel versions, they're awesome. There's obviously some like drawbacks to like compatibility for some of the stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's Apple. What do you expect?
But, like,
yeah, Intel's losing a lot of market share.
They're
hemorrhaging.
Huh?
They're hemorrhaging market share. I mean, once AMD got in on the processors with their Ryzen, like that just kicked butt, and Intel just
they haven't answered.
Like Intel they just coasted forever with their i5s, their i7s. They just kind of
funny.
And then all of a sudden, AMD comes along, just freaking shreds them apart. Other companies, Apple now, Intel is losing a lot of market share.
Yeah,
and I don't know how they get it back.
Yeah, because like I said, I've been getting a little bit more into like thinking about building my own, and I never really considered like AMD, or like I just always like by default in my head I'm like, yeah, an Intel chip. But now I'm feeling like maybe I put a Ryzen 7 in a thing instead.
Well, or Ryzen 9 they got now. Yeah. I mean Ryzen's great. I have one. It's in the new consoles. Ryzen has done a lot of it. It's used for a reason. Like it's really good.
Yeah, so it's like that, and I've always been jealous of Apple with like iPhone wise with their like tight integration of everything. Like, say what you will about them, but they only need 4 gigs of RAM to make their phone run smooth for 5 years, and it's nuts. And now that they're also building their own laptop chips, and I assume sometime desktop chips, that's awesome. There's rumors that Google is working on their own SoC for next year potentially. We'll see how that goes, but
yeah, I mean Google's not
They do too much.
Well, yeah, and they don't have like the hardware game that, like, they don't have really like the.
They bought HTC last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, they don't have the ecosystem that Apple has with the hardware. Like, yeah, Google has, you know, their Google Homes and Nests and stuff like that, but like they don't really have like their own. They don't have their own like competitor to like a Mac, you know, a MacBook. They have a Chromebook, but those are just.
They have like your Pixel books and like.
Those are just low end, like, you know.
As much as I'll recommend a Chromebook for anyone's, you know, mom or grandma or whatever, like, works perfectly fine, but for anyone that's doing anything serious,
yeah, it's not gonna work.
So, but yeah, I just thought it was like, I thought it was interesting that they, you know, announced their stuff. They, you know, they had some random claims like 3.5 times faster than the best-selling Windows laptop, and it's like, shut up, because the best-selling Windows laptop isn't equivalent to what you're selling. But
right,
whatever. But I've been like a little bit impressed, I guess, or like, I guess not really like shocked, but a little bit surprised that their claims actually have like seemingly to start been pretty good.
Yeah.
Moments-wise.
It'll be interesting to see how you know, longevity and all that goes with the chips, and if they experience any issues over time. I mean, it is Apple; they tend to be pretty good with that type of stuff, but yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah. But no, that was it. That was the tech. That was the last bit of tech news that I thought was, you know, the most interesting reason.
Well, all right.
All right.
Sounds like a good time to sign off. Let all you listeners who spent these 2.5 hours with us, we'll let you go. Let you enjoy the rest of your life here. Until episode 40, the big 40.
Oh yeah, get ready.
Yeah, then we're gonna need you back.
We're gonna need you back here for the episode. Don't be late.
Yep.
But if you are, also you can listen to it later. It's fine.
Yeah, it's on demand. It's on demand.
Just listen. You know, we just appreciate that you're there and that you care.
And or watch.
Yeah.
You can watch. I mean, we're on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
Subscribe. See if you like my lighting situation better. I tried to help that a little bit.
Yeah, when Ryan first joined, he was like completely dark. It
was dank. It was dank in here.
He's got the dark hair, the dark beard. He had zero light on his face, and he has the dark curtains behind him. Like, it was just black.
Everybody knows I am all about all black everything.
Yeah, the dark shirt, it was
too black.
It was like
my presentation could have gotten none more black.
Yeah. How much black is it? How much more black can it be? None more black. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for hanging out, y'all.
See you in the big 40.
See you in the next one.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Binary Brothers Podcast. We can't wait for you to tune in next time. But until then, make sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and BinaryBrothersPodcast.com.